I'm Jan, and you are listening to Generative Engine Optimization in the AI Era, Decoding SEO 2.0. Welcome to the show, proudly sponsored by 3 Steps Digital Brand Management, a Kalicube certified agency. Now, let's dive right in and decode. Today, we're jumping into a super energetic, fascinating explainer on the absolute foundation of digital visibility. So think about this for a second. Brands aren't just losing at search today. Nope, they are actually being silently filtered out. And man, what a massive wake-up call that is. Why is this happening? Well, it's because AI fundamentally misunderstands who they are. If your brand identity doesn't have a clear, consolidated home that these algorithms can map to, AI agents are just going to skip right past you, literally without you even knowing it's happening. Hey there! Before we get started, if you're new here, please subscribe to be kept up to date. For more insights like this, you can also download some free guides to optimize your corporate or personal brand in the AI era at kalicube.com/guides. Now, to really get why AI gets a brand totally wrong, we've got to talk about the origin story behind this whole shift. It's called the Boo of the Blue Dog paradox. Jason Barnard actually lived this firsthand. Early in his career, algorithms completely messed up and identified him primarily as a cartoon dog he once voiced, rather than the business leader he actually is. Talk about a crisis of identity, right? The machines completely had the wrong story. This incredible million-dollar misrepresentation led to the pioneering of digital brand intelligence. And honestly, the scariest part, it's not a unique glitch. This exact thing is happening to thousands of businesses right now. As Gian, I can tell you that most businesses are still optimizing for ghosts, chasing keywords while AI is looking for entities that actually understands and trusts. We're fundamentally shifting away from traditional SEO and moving straight into Generative Engine Optimization, or GEO. So it's no longer just about sprinkling magic keywords on a page, oh no. It's about training AI to deeply understand and definitively choose your brand as a verifiable real-world entity. Let's dig into the technical side of why this misidentification happens. It comes down to something called the JS gap. See, there's a massive technical divergence happening right now. Traditional search engines, they'll read JavaScript to render your content, but AI-assistive engines, things like GPTbot, they ingest clean server-side HTML. So if your structured data, your schema, is being injected via JavaScript, these AI bots just fetch the raw HTML and basically see a blank space. AI literally thinks your brand is empty. Crazy, right? And that leads us right into a huge structural risk you absolutely have to know about. We call it the Algorithmic Blockchain. Just think of this as a chain of historical entity signals attached directly to your unique schema ID. Schema ID migration, it's basically a ticking time bomb. If you update your website platform and you accidentally change your unique identifier, boom, you sever your entire historical trust chain. All that accumulated algorithmic confidence you built up is just destroyed in an instant. You absolutely have to preserve that trust because of how AI fundamentally processes and evaluates information. So the big question is, how do we systematically build and preserve that trust? Well, we have to look at how AI actually evaluates brands. Enter the Algorithmic Trinity. This is the macro framework that builds AI answers. First, you have the search index, which provides real-time data for deliverability. Then, the knowledge graph steps in as the fact-checking brain for understandability. And finally, the large language model acts as the conversational voice for credibility. They all pull from the exact same web index, which means your brand needs to be perfectly optimized for all 3, all at the same time. Now, zooming in within that trinity, you need a micro framework for credibility, and that's where the 3-tier NEEATT framework comes into play. It stands for notability, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, trust, and transparency. And the really cool part is that it applies across 3 distinct tiers: the content itself, the author behind it, and the publisher. This is exactly how you establish deep, unshakable credibility inside that algorithmic trinity, so AI knows exactly why it should trust you. But here's the million-dollar question. How do you stop being a ghost, like we mentioned earlier, and actually give the algorithmic trinity a stable target to apply all that credibility to? Well, you have to build an entity home. It's essentially a single, definitive source of truth that AI can confidently map to your brand. Without this consolidated home, your identity is just scattered all over the web. But with it, the algorithm finally has a stable, corroborated entity to anchor all its trust signals to. This is exactly where the systematic solution comes in. The Kalicube process uses this entity home framework to give AI a totally machine-readable identity. It's pretty straightforward. Step 1 is establishing that definitive home. Step 2 is delivering clean, server-side HTML so the bots can actually read it without any friction. And step 3 is linking out to trusted third-party sources to corroborate your facts. Do this, and it ensures your brand becomes the absolute default recommendation whenever your audience asks an AI assistant. Now, I'll be honest, this transformation doesn't happen overnight, but the timeline is incredibly clear and super actionable. In the short term, meaning weeks, you start winning traditional search results by delivering that clean, frictionless HTML. Over the midterm, so months, you're actively educating the knowledge graph to build a permanent factual foundation. And then, in the long term, we're talking years, you achieve zero-shot recognition. That means your brand literally becomes foundational training data for the large language models themselves. This brings us to the ultimate paradigm shift of this entire explainer. Here is the bottom line. Stop optimizing for keywords and start building the corroborated machine-trusted entity that AI agents will choose in the zero-sum moment. That is the new rulebook, folks. In the AI era, there is only one winner recommended in an answer. You simply must engineer algorithmic trust to win. So I have to ask you, will your brand be chosen in that zero-sum moment, or will you remain just a ghost in the machine? Think carefully about that. This is Gian, reminding you to take control and secure your entity home. And as we wrap up, please don't forget to subscribe to 3 Steps Digital Brand Management. Also, be sure to check out kalicube.com/guides to download your free guides that will help you get ahead in this AI era. I dived, decoded, and deciphered SEO 2.0, thanks to our sponsor, 3 Steps Digital Brand Management. And thank you for listening. See you next time for another new, necessary nugget of knowledge.